Hi there, this is Susan, the Chief Elf Officer from Elfworks Lane once again. And I realized after I made my first video with all the bells ringing that I neglected to include and show two of the other more fancy top-end, high-end packaging box options for our bells. Because we can put any bell in any box, basically. In fact, if you like our box and you think you like somebody else's bell, you can just buy the box from us. And we'd be happy to sell that to you too. So the first box is a box that is actually called a library box. And that's because it kind of opens like a book. And that's what it does. It opens up just like a book. And it says, I believe inside. We put cotton in there and you just nest the bell right in there. And then this is what's under the tree, and then this just gets tied into a nice little bow so that you have this little red striped box. This was a design that we put together a couple years, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Limited supply of these because I think we only have about 300 of these left. And then when they're gone, they're gone. We're not going to continue to make this style. The other one is what we really, really like. We studied the movie and we tried to make a package that was as close to what we saw in the movie as possible. This one, we put it in a little thing for keepsake to protect it over some time. But this is what it looks like under the tree. This is a little wire wrapped ribbon, so you can actually rearrange these and, you know, fluff these up to make them perfect under the tree. There's no trademark or hallmark or anything like that. So because we know children are very smart, and we know that people who get something that it comes from a store or comes from a corporation, they can tell. And they can tell it's not really from an elf workshop, and we are indeed an elf workshop, and that's why we are called Elfworks Lane. So we're a substation of the North Pole Workshop right here in chilly New York. And then this opens up, and these are hand folded with origami style folding methods, hand constructed boxes, very special, not by machine, by two little hands. And we just love this box. And that also can handle any of the bells that we have here, and we really like this one a lot. So these are also limited. We'll have more every year, but right now I think we have somewhat less of these than we have of the library box style. And these will both hold the 50mm bell. How we got into doing this, it's so funny. When I look on the internet these days, I see there are a lot of people who are selling what they call I believe bells, and that's something that we coined over a decade ago. I got asked to chaperone, if I wanted to chaperone, when my young son went to see the Polar Express movie in 2004 when it came out. This is a decade ago. And at the time, I wanted to be able to give him a bell because I really liked the movie and I was so inspired by it. And I couldn't find a bell anywhere except for the Hallmark bell, which was a $100 bell, and I wasn't paying that. And I found someone who was manufacturing these back in my home area. My family's Pennsylvania Dutch, and it was a Pennsylvania Dutch ancient design. They're no longer in business, and we're the only people now that manufacture this acorn bell. And so I set about creating the bells that we make, and with using ancient techniques and exacting specifications. And that's it. It's a Pennsylvania German, Pennsylvania Dutch method. And that's what we do. Now, one thing I want to also mention about ringing bells is that, remember, a sleigh bell, a real sleigh bell, it never hung on an animal, on a horse, on a sleigh like this. Any bell that you ring upside down sounds kind of dead. Any bell. And so you have to remember that the parts of the bell, the chamber, which is the musical part, and then this part that you tie, gets tied onto the leather strap, this is called the tang. This means that when this got attached to that piece of leather on the strap, it either hung like this straight up above the horse or straight out in front of the horse. And then the horse would jump or run. And so sleigh bells are always meant to be sound the sweetest and rung being held upwards or sideways, not down. And that's an important point that people forget when they're actually ringing a real sleigh bell. Now, a tinny bell doesn't matter. A tinny bell won't matter how you ring it because it's not a real sleigh bell. And it's made in a different method, and it's thinner. And so those thinner bells, what I call craft bells, will always sound great no matter how you hold them. So, you know, that's just something to consider when you're shopping for a bell. You can reach me if you need to, if you have an emergency order or you need some help with ordering a bell and packaging a bell. We do a lot of custom work at this time of the year. And so you can reach me at elfworks2, that's the number 2, elfworks2 @gmail.com. Okay, have a great Christmas. Thank you.